Hi everybody, Paul Hayward here. We are looking at 5 things today. So let's start with position and posture. You'll see professional players with all kinds of interesting postures. But if you don't want to, if you want to limit your risk of injuring yourself, getting aches and pains, all kinds of things, then it's worth just getting things sorted from the start and getting, building good habits. So first of all, we want to get the saxophone in front of you. Strap on, obviously, thumb rest, and on the back there, other thumb rest. So get those in position. Okay. Now, just let that sort of triangulate between your neck sling and those guys. You should be able to hold the saxophone in front of you without your fingers on it, just the thumbs and the neck strap. Now, relax that, shoulders relaxed. Head up nice and straight. Make sure that the sling isn't too high up on your neck or it'll pull your neck down. Let that feel nice and relaxed. Okay, let's do that from here as well. Now with that kind of triangulation, let the saxophone be nice and relaxed and then let the saxophone come to you. Now you can see here, that's not on track, is it? Okay, to play this, I have to come down to it. Now I'm craning my neck. So we're going to move the neck strap up. Try that again. It's much better. So here's another thing, whilst we're on this subject, getting that right, a lot of people aren't exactly sure where to put, what angle to put this crook at. Okay, the saxophone isn't necessarily supposed to be dead straight like that, from bell to body to crook. Okay, you'll see some people with it very bent round like that. But the important thing is how it is. We don't want to be using the hands to change the fingers to be able to pushing the saxophone around. We need the saxophone to come to us. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with this. So let's imagine we set it up all nice and straight. We're going to do the triangulation with the fingers and the neck strap. Then we're going to let the saxophone come to us. Okay. Now you can see there that it's not right. And what we can do is just make sure this is loose. Keep the body of the saxophone pointing how we want it. So it's gone a little bit too far. Now it's pretty much come to us, just a tiny bit further that way. Lock it up and it's there. It's the right height for us and it's coming directly to us without us having to work with the fingers to twist it one way or the other. Okay? So shoulders relaxed, back straight, neck not craned, and get the saxophone, neck strap and the crook positioned to come to you rather than you going to it. So that's number 1. Number 2, fingering. Okay, now fingers, I'm still guilty of this a little bit. You'll see lots of professional players that do waggle their fingers about quite a lot. But as you're starting off or developing your playing, if you can try and relax your hands and keep your hands from not moving lots, then you're going to be able to develop speed far easier, and you're going to limit the amount of work you have to do with your hands. It's going to feel more comfortable. So with your hands, again, let's look at biology. Okay, when you dangle your hands that way, they open up. When you turn them this way, they close. Give that a go, might as well. All right. Now if we turn them this way, we end up with a nice relaxed hand that's, I don't know, hold a deodorant can about right. Some people are slightly more relaxed, holding an orange or a Coke can or whatever, but see how that hand naturally falls to about that sort of space. And that, if you just move your thumb back, fits perfectly to the sax. Old Adolf Sax did put some time into making it an ergonomic instrument, and developers of saxophone since, obviously it's evolved a lot in its design, basically trying to make it so it fits as many hand shapes as possible, hand genetics as possible, whilst being relaxed. Okay, so try and relax your hand and put it on the saxophone. Keep it relaxed. And when you move your fingers, and say we're playing down a scale, okay, when you take your fingers off there, try not to lift them up. Okay, you don't need to lift your fingers off. What you need to do is relax the finger let's do it with this top finger here. Look, let's go from B, A, G. Okay, flappy fingers or relaxed fingers, and just squeeze 1, 2, 3, or relax 1, 2, 3. The fingers don't need to come off the keys at all. Okay, so that's how you want your fingers going. Obviously, in terms of palm keys, side keys, and little fingers, and all this kind of thing. Perhaps get into that in a bit more detail in future videos. But for now, relax hands and don't lift your fingers off. Relax them and let the springs and rods and stuff on the saxophone push your fingers up. Just relax them and they'll go back to their slightly more open position. Okay, so next, breathing. So breathing, we've got saxophone in the right place, our fingers are in the right place now. Now we need to take an in-breath, that's where we start. Okay, in-breath, we're trying to take it down into the diaphragm. Now if you've never done diaphragm breathing before, it might feel a bit funny, you might not be exactly sure how to do it, but you're effectively taking your breath in and trying to push it down to your belly is the easiest way to imagine what you're doing. So you're taking your breath in and trying to get it here. Trying to get your belly to stick out from it. Okay, now when you take a breath in from there and send it down to the diaphragm, you will then, if you want to continue filling up your lungs, your chest will start to expand. And if you really keep going, you might find your shoulders rise and everything as well. Now if you get to that point where your shoulders are rising, then you're going for a real big expansion of the chest, and you are then dealing with a lot of compression, trying to squeeze that air out, and you're having to control it with your throat by stopping the air coming out. So if you breathe into your diaphragm, see, I can take quite a big breath there, and I don't need to constrict my talking at all. I can just control how much air I want to come out using my diaphragm. Whereas if I take a big breath into my chest and expand it, it's then very difficult to control how much air comes out because this is elastic. Okay, so if you breathe into your chest and fill your shoulders up, imagine you're expanding a balloon that is then squeezing the air out without just naturally, without you having any control over it. You breathe into your diaphragm, you can control the air pressure with your own muscle and decide how much you want to push or hold. So you breathe in, and you can let a bit of air into the chest as well, but don't go for big, huge expansion because it will be elastic and you'll be forcing and straining. Then play a note. Etc. So I've still got lots of air to talk. That's from here. And I can control that. So just briefly, they are breathing. Breathe in, down into your stomach, only a small amount into the chest, and then that should give you lots of controlled air to use. So there you go, there's breathing. Now, tonguing. We did mention this briefly in another video, I think. But you've got different types, you've got a couple of different types of tonguing. The two main ones are going to be what I will refer to as T tonguing, or T tonguing. And the other one would be D tonguing, D, 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 D. Now the reason I'm calling them that is when you go T, 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 then you're actually building up air behind your tongue, which then explodes out through your teeth to give you a T sound. When you go D, 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 if you go D, 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 you're just very quickly touching the tongue against the roof of your mouth, and that's just interrupting the sound coming out. You're not actually stopping anything. Now when we're doing it on the reed, to get T, we have to close the reed off completely. We block it off with the tongue. So my thumb's the tongue, it comes up here, it blocks the reed off completely. No air's getting through. Air pressure builds up behind, then we release that, and air comes through and springs the reed into life with quite an aggressive punch, quite a lot of attack. Okay, now if we do the D tonguing, sometimes called flutter tonguing, then we're not actually closing the gap there. All we're doing is just touching the tongue very gently on the reed to the point where the reed can't vibrate. Air could still pass through it, but the reed can't vibrate because it's got something dampening it. Okay, now that sounds more like this. And that's much easier to do controlled and fast tonguing like that to give better articulation and phrasing in your playing. So practice using that most of the time, really. You can use the T tonguing, more explosive kind, when you want to put a big strong accent on notes. But the rest of the time, you just want to use that more controlled, just touching the end of the reed to stop it from vibrating. All right, so there's tonguing, and finally tone. So tone is a whole another big bag. I mean, we could spend hours looking at tone exercises, and how to develop it. There's so many different ways of approaching it, so many different ways of developing it, and just improving your tone. But the most important thing to do is to actually acknowledge that it's important. You know, so many people say, "Oh, I love the saxophone." You go out and play, and you'll tell people that you play a saxophone, and they'll say, "Oh, I love the saxophone." And you could be playing the most simple thing in the world, and if you play it with a nice tone, people will enjoy it. You could play a really clever, complicated piece of music, but with bad tone, and people won't enjoy it. Okay, so it's really important that we are creating our own instrument here, and remember that comes from what we do with our embouchure, inside our mouth and inside our throat. So let's just quickly cover the basics. Don't squeeze your throat. Obviously not with your hand. With your muscles in your throat, try and keep it relaxed. If you're struggling with it squeezing, then you can do a thing where you practice starting to yawn, and you'll feel the muscles at the back of your mouth and throat open up, okay? And that can help you sort of gain some control over those muscles. Secondly, the tongue position. Now, we can use the tongue, use it to say different vowels on the same note when we're singing or talking. All these different sounds, and that actually plays a part in the tone we make. So to start with, you want a nice neutral tongue position, perhaps in the R sort of range. So if you say R, you should find that your tongue feels fairly relaxed. It's sitting behind your bottom teeth, and you're not sort of working the muscles of the tongue at all. So throat relaxed, tongue relaxed. Secondly, embouchure. You probably know this already, but just quickly, part of the bottom lip over the teeth, and the teeth sit on the top here, and on the bottom, the pad of your lip rests against the reed and acts as a cushion to dampen the reed. Now, for different tones, you might find it just a quick insight. Let's sit the octave key, go up an octave, G at the top. If I do this, we get that sound. If I put more mouthpiece in, we get a harsher tone, and even more. It's really going crazy. Okay, now that's because when I've got too much in there, this whole stretch of reed here is just, it's uncontrolled. As we bring the lip back, we get more dampening, and basically imagine that your tongue is like a cushion sitting on the reed, which sort of just dampens the vibration, stops it being so brash and raspy and vicious, and just calms it down, gives it a slightly softer tone. And you can experiment with that, from here to moving it up and down a bit, but all the way up there, and you're going to lose control of the reed. So there's a little insight to you. Other than that, you're going to have to build up the strength of your embouchure, and we do that by playing long note exercises. And here's one just to get you kick-started on it. Pick a note on the saxophone, play it as quietly as you can, and build up in volume. Okay, so let's take an E with the octave key. and come back down. Do that several times in a row. Move up to a different part of the instrument, move down to a different part of the instrument. Try and cover the full range of the instrument each time you practice it. And this is going to be a workout for your lip. Okay, we're building strength and control. So you might find after just doing a few that you get wobbles and wibbles and interruptions in the tone, and you might feel like your lips are really getting tired. And that's a good sign. Don't overwork it. Do a little tone workout, take a break, let it recover and come back to it. Okay, so it's just like going to the gym for the lip basically. So yeah, tone, we are responsible for it. You're going to have to build it up. So build up the tone, build up the muscles, and remember, relaxed tongue position, relaxed throat, build the strength in the embouchure, so you've got plenty of strength in the lip and the muscles around to create the embouchure, rather than your jaw having to be taking the weight. So we go. So there's 5 things: position and posture, fingering, breathing, tonguing, and tone. Put all those things together, work on those things, and that's definitely going to improve your playing somewhat. So I really hope that's been helpful to you. Remember to hit like, leave me a comment if there's any questions you've got about things I've talked about, or other things you'd like me to do lessons on. I've got plenty planned, lots of how to improvise, how to jam, and get funky on the sax. So that's coming. Bear with me on that one, because I've had to do quite a lot of prep for that. And remember to subscribe to catch all the future videos. All that likes, comments, subscribe stuff does make a big difference to me, and to know you guys are enjoying what I'm putting up. So yeah, feel free to interact. Brilliant. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.